Hey guys, welcome to another track guide. This time we're at VIR for the GT Sprint series. In the Lambo this time. Pretty hot track temps this week. So without further ado, we'll show the hot lap and we'll get into it. So coming into turn one, braking just after the 3 board, ramping up to about 65% or so. And for the corner, very important that you're kind of following this rubbered line and sticking really close to the curb. So you want to turn in a bit earlier than you think, and because there's much more grip on the inside here. The outside, there's really no grip at all, and you'll just use a lot more front tires, especially with these really hot track temps. So trying to keep it really tight to this white line on the exit. For the next sequence here, you want to be about center right. I'm purposely missing the first apex here on this curb on the left to open up the next corner, which is more important here. Lifting and braking just as I see the end of the gray curb on the left, about 30-40%. Holding the trail brake all the way to the apex and downshifting to 3rd gear. Avoid going on the curb on the right as it makes the car understeer a lot. Using all this runoff on the right hand side, you can even go into the dirt and you won't get the off track. For the next corner, I begin braking just as I get off the green Astro. Cutting all of this curb here, making sure you're on the throttle before it. And for this double right-hander, make sure you're cutting the curb again, and I'm just modulating the throttle throughout here to make sure I don't run too far to the left. Super important that you're not on the gray curb on the left, because that curb also has a tendency to understeer the car, and naturally the track kind of falls off there, so you'll just end up going into the grass. Through here, just cutting all the curbs. Same premise for the uphill S's, just cut all the curbs completely flat out. Make sure you're bringing the car back to the right hand side because the next corner comes up very quickly. I begin braking just as the car gets over this crest. Kind of a quick stab at the brakes, about 30%, very quick trail off and going down to 5th gear. Making sure not to go too far into the grass on the right hand side. Here I'm using the 2 board as a reference, not braking super hard because you have steering lock engaged here. Treating this as a double apex, so your first apex is this curb here, cutting it a little bit. Making sure you're carrying a lot of speed. Also, you don't want to touch this curb on the left because it understeers the car. Super important that you're back on power to about 80% just before this curb. And again, using all the runoff to the left here. No penalty for that. Using the 2 board on the right as my reference for braking here, and also that's when I begin turning in. You want to start aiming for that gray curb on the left because the next corner leads to the right. Super important that you're braking over this curb to help open up the corner. Getting on the power right as you get onto this curb here. And cutting this curb as well, also doing a short shift to 3rd gear just to keep the rear settled through here because this is just about flat out. Just before you arrive at this curb on the left, you want to lift and use very minimal braking just to help settle the car going into the next corner, which leads to the final straight. And then just as you're off the curb, get to 30% braking or so, trailing off pretty quickly down to 3rd gear, and you want to aim for this curb on the right. You want to make sure that you open up the corner a little bit, otherwise it's very easy to understeer, very wide on the exit. And that's a lap guide for VIR. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll catch you later.